Right now, there is an urgent problem. I see marketers complaining and crying and moaning and talking about how Facebook ads no longer work in 2022 and beyond after the whole iOS 14 update. Things are never the same again. And up to a certain extent, that may be true. But today, I'm literally going to be taking you behind the scenes to how our ad campaigns look like and how we are utilizing the strategies that it's working right now in order to still maintain sales of over 10K daily, and what it looks like and what it is that you should be doing right now if you want to not just survive but thrive when it comes to the Facebook ads game. So by the end of this video, I'm going to be showing you exactly the setup, the numbers that you need to have in place, and some of the changes that you absolutely must have if you want to be able to crush it utilizing Facebook ads. Let's begin. So what I'm doing right now is I am going to dive deep into a campaign, and maybe I'll just move my picture to the bottom right here a bit, and I'm going to show you, like, this is sales from one day for a campaign that is $997 that is sold utilizing a presentation or webinar funnel. And I'm going to walk you through the breakdown, the structure of it, and whether you want to be able to sell products and offers, whether it's a physical product, whether it's a digital product, whether it's a presentation funnel, whether it is a high ticket, whether it's low ticket, it does not matter as long as you understand these principles. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom into this specific campaign. Now, this specific campaign, as you can see, this is a $997 offer. And the sales on this day happened as a direct result. As you can see, this happened on the 8th of February in 2022. And in order to make this happen, we did a Facebook ad campaign. As you can see on the top right hand side over here, this was in the last 7 days. All right, so to begin, you'll notice that the campaign name here says it contains OM. It's basically how I categorize and name our campaigns. This is based on the funnel, and you can see that this was in the last 7 days, and ultimately the webinar just ended, and right now the only thing that we're spending money on is the replay and to check out and to retarget people. So based on the stats last week, you can see that the total here, we spent about 16,000 and we got about 16,000 clicks. Now when it comes to the website purchases, here's how literally we are getting about minimum $2 return on ad spend on the webinar, which is pretty unheard of today. Now, most of the time, marketers will be happy just breaking even, getting free leads, and then after that profiting either through the follow-up funnel, through the email sequences, and through retargeting. But I'm going to walk you through some of the things that we're doing very differently that really sets us apart so that we can still be aggressive with ads, so that for every $1 we spend, we get back $2 on the front end. And then if you take into account the lifetime value for lead and the follow-up and the emails, easily more than 7x return on ad spend. Okay, so how do we make it work? Okay, so in order to walk you through numbers, you notice that this one campaign we spent $16,000. And what actually happens? So what actually happens is we are sending them to a webinar funnel, but I'm going to notice, what actually happens on a webinar funnel. Now, by the time you're watching this video, it could be the case that the webinar might already be over, but that's fine. I'm not here to sell you on attending a webinar, but rather to understand the numbers and the structure of it all. Okay, so they attend a webinar, and you'll notice that based on the numbers here, there was about 2,762 people that registered. Okay, so in order to understand how you can model this, whether you want to do webinars, whether you have an e-commerce funnel, whether you are selling high ticket, whether it's a challenge funnel, the same principles will still apply, which is understanding your numbers, your KPIs and metrics, and how you can improve it. Okay, so let's head over to the whiteboard for a second, okay, in order to understand this. So 2,762. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, based on this funnel, we got 2,672 webinar registrations. Okay, now how did we get these people in here? By running ads, right? And as you can see from this one ad campaign that we did, we spent approximately $16,000 in ad spend. So that would be 16,152. That's the exact amount, right? So people would come over to the webinar funnel, right? So this would be the webinar registration page. But here's the magic that happens, okay? And here's how we're able to get 2-to-1 returns on the front end, okay? And you'll see how it works in a second. On the next page, which is the webinar confirmation page, this is something that we're doing differently that enables us to get cash on cash return to maintain a very healthy cash flow. So sometimes if you're a person who's doing webinar funnel, they gotta wait for the webinar to happen. It could be in 3 days, 5 days, a week. And then they would be in the red for a week before they hopefully recover ad cost. But one of the things that we're doing differently is we think about a self-liquidating offer that's not gonna cover the full ad spend, but is gonna recover some of it, a good portion of it. So let's take a look and see what actually happens when a person opts in. Okay, so heading back over to the webinar page, when a person opts in, a couple of things. Number one, we have this little box over here that says, yes, I would like to receive a text before the event begins. Now, one of the things you'll probably notice is the attention on email is just declining over the years, but the problem is it's still the best, cheapest, most cost-effective ways to reach out to an existing customer or client. So emails are probably never going to go away, but when it comes to a text, the open rates are at least 10 times higher than email. So one of the things that we do in order to really maximize the lead, and it's a little nuanced over here, but if you are capturing somebody's phone number, it's important to not have it as name, email, and phone number, because if you did that, your conversions would actually be lower, because now there's 3 fields, and 3 fields, it's significantly more scary than 2 fields, right? And now it repels people. However, if you have this little box that says, I would like to receive a text, we found that there's no difference in conversions. However, there would be about 38% of people that would click on this and give us their mobile number to get a reminder. Now, I can't stress this enough, but just by adding this in here, we significantly increase our lifetime value of the customer. The show-up rate is higher, and whenever we have a future offer or our engagement with this person over long run is significantly higher because the attention on text is higher. Which, by the way, if you want to be able to utilize the software that we created that helps you handle all this, be sure to check out the link in the description box below. All right, Cardnetics. We handle not just the funnels, the page building, the sales process, but also email, your CRM, as well as the text. You can go ahead and check it out to see how we have integrated everything together in the description box below. But that being said, okay, once a person does this, what actually happens when they are taken to the confirmation page? Let me just pause this, okay? What actually happens is you'll notice that I have a self-liquidating offer that says, congratulations for registering for the masterclass. Now, the masterclass, before you attend this webinar and before you join us, I would like you to go ahead and create a free 14-day trial for our software. Now, when they do this, here's what we realize. We actually realize that it's in fact cheaper to acquire a customer to a trial when it's on the thank you page of a webinar than sending them to a trial, because nobody wants to sign up for a trial. Nobody really understands, what a trial means, and if they log in for first 30 minutes and have no idea what's going on, they'll probably leave and never utilize it again. But what's really powerful about this is we're able to get trials that is in fact cheaper than running an ad to the trial of our software. Does that make sense? So in other words, now you could be looking at this and you're saying, Peng Joon, I don't run software, I don't have a software. How is this going to affect, or how is this going to benefit me? You see, coming back to the dashboard over here, what we realized is when a person lands on this page, webinar confirmation, there will be a good percentage, slightly under 5%, of people that will take up the offer to get a trial. Now, you could be in a totally different market, but this is when you want to think about an offer that does not cannibalize the offer that you are going to make on the live webinar, right? So ultimately, if you think about the sales process, this is where after they confirm, a portion might show up live, and the number to strive for on a cold audience is about 25%. At scale, if you are just targeting hot audiences, you know, people know, like, and trust you, you can get it to 40%. But if you're targeting people who have never heard of you before, a good number to strive for is a 25% show up rate. And this is very achievable when you utilize what I'm showing you over here. When you're gathering their phone number, their text, it's going to your CRM. And one of the things that our CRM would also do is we would not just text them a confirmation, but if it's like a virtual event, I would have people calling them up to confirm their attendance in the virtual event, right? Now for a webinar, we don't do the calling because it's only a 90-minute thing, but these are some of the things and the automations you want to have in place in order to get the show up. So in order to prepare for this, okay, what I'd like you to think about is, in order to help you offset some of your ad cost immediately, a good way is, if you have a software, you can do what it is that I do. You have a trial, or if you have something else, right? If it's a webinar, it could be a book, right? In order to prepare for this thing, right, go order a book. It could be, as long as it's something that doesn't affect either the show up rate or the offer that you're making, right? So something that complements it. Maybe it could be the slides, right? Or the notes, or something that helps them experience this thing a whole lot better, right? So maybe it's a separate Q&A session just for VIPs, right? The VIP experience, something that I utilize pretty often in my offers and upsells in my funnels. Okay. Now, as a result of this, what actually happens is we are able to get back. Now, because it's a trial and we don't get back immediately cash on cash return. However, I know that just by having people utilize my software, they're going to start getting leads, they're going to start getting sales, it's going to pay for itself, and chances are they're going to be a customer for life. So for that reason, I know that once they get on a trial, a good percentage that actually use it to get their hands dirty is going to be customers for a really long time. So I know that just on this step alone, this helps me recover my ad cost within a month or two. Not to mention the offer that I make over here, of which the KPI that you want to set for is usually 10% on a $997 offer, right? So this means that out of 2,600 registrants, we had slightly lower than 25%. We had about 500-ish people show up. So I'm bad at math, so let me just do a quick calculation. Okay, so that would be, if it's 500 people, we had a 500 plus, we had about 19% show up. The KPI that we're always going for is 25%. So based on a 10% close, okay, on the $997 offer, this is how, you know, when people say, oh, it's no longer possible to get 2-to-1 return on a webinar, you know, the times have changed. It's not true. If you take a look at the KPIs, right, just from this alone, you'll see that based on the campaign, the actual numbers, and this, by the way, doesn't even include the sales that you make over here, the fact that you're getting cash on cash return over here. This does not include the fact that after this live thing happens, you can extend the campaign. It doesn't end here, right? The reason why marketers can't make it work, because sometimes it just ends here. But the question is, well, is there an email sequence that happens after? Remember, right now, I just built a list of also 2,600 people from this one campaign, right? And if I continue to treat them right and nurture that relationship, that's got to be worth something, right? What about the follow-up emails, right? For the people that registered but didn't show up, there should be a sequence for that. What about the people that showed up but didn't buy? There should be another sequence for that, right? Same thing here. What about the retargeting ads, right? Retargeting people that landed on the page but didn't register, retargeting people that registered but didn't show up, retargeting people that showed up but didn't go to the checkout page, right? So all these campaigns over here, I'm not even taking that into account, but this is the reason why we would still be able to get back over 7x. The fact that there's still the back end, right? There's still high ticket. There's still lifetime value of the customer, right? The fact that they're going to be utilizing our software. So for that reason, when I say 7x over the lifetime value, I'm still being conservative, right? But these are the things that you got to be thinking about if you want to be able to make over $10,000 a day on Facebook ads and scale to over $10,000 a day minimum on Facebook ads. So let me know. By the way, one of the things that we are doing right now is we're giving away prizes and courses. Write down, put in the comments below Facebook ads together with your biggest takeaway. We are constantly selecting 1 to 3 winners every single video. And if you want, you got to be in it to be able to win it. So put your comments below Facebook ads together with your biggest takeaway. And as always, if you enjoyed this video, do smash the like button, just help the channel out. And if you want to get truly good at this, be sure to subscribe so you get notified whenever we have the latest techniques drop. And be sure to binge watch this entire Facebook playlist that's gonna pop up in front of you in about 3 seconds from now.